Time. Oops. Perfect. So should we go ahead and start?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you everyone for joining today, our session for insurance for new homeowners. Myself is Govinda Bassi. I'm a managing partner here at Diamond Insurance Group at Ottawa. It's something that a lot of people take for granted, home insurance. It's something that's very important and very logistically required for when you actually purchase your home under a mortgage, and generally just a requirement. Okay, so let's just I think we've got a couple of people coming in, and just hold on for a minute, admit them in. Okay, perfect. So let's start with the presentation. Top 5 things you need to know that impact premiums. A lot of people take for granted their credit score. Credit score is a huge impact on insurance and premiums. People with good credit score generally have a better premium. Same again with, it's based on the risk analysis. A person with a not such a good credit score would be high risk because of the fact that there may be more opportunity for them to be required to call upon their insurance if there's a small damage on the property. It's something insurance companies use and utilize to assess the premiums. Okay. The second issue is location. A property located in a certain area will deem a higher premium, as well as a certain property that's in another location might be a lower premium. When we talk about location, we talk about properties that are close to rivers, lakes, any kind of position that could have flood issues. Just about 2 or 3 years ago, we had an issue in Dunrobin where there was a tornado. It took the roofs off many houses. People lost homes. Again, locations like that would now have a heavier premium due to the fact that there is now recorded insurance issues. The other thing that impacts insurances are deductibles. Higher premiums mean higher deductibles mean lower premiums. So I'm sure, I'd like to explain what deductibles are. Deductible is the portion that you pay for the insurance if ever you make a claim. So for example, it's your portion of the claim. So most people for home insurance here in Ottawa generally set their deductible to around about $1,000. That's kind of like the default value. Dependent on the price of the home, a lot of people are now venturing towards a $2,000, $2,500 deductible mark. Another thing is the age of the property. Of course, an older property will result in a higher premium. The newer properties, they come with all their extras. They're designed in such a way now not to flood. They're designed in such a way not to have major issues, because obviously as the risks increase, so do the builders, and they decide to build homes to actually compensate from any issues to happen. Okay. Again, insurance history. When we talk about insurance history, it's also a factor is if you've had tenant insurance, that can also result in insurance history. So there's some sort of background about the individual, the client who has insurance, so they know how much of a risk this person could be. So that factors into what the premium looks like. Okay. It's always a good thing. Have your notes ready before you're calling the broker. You should always have your date of prior insurance, your address, including postal code for where you live at present, because your credit history will be taken from the address that you live at the moment, and also the new address, including postal code for the new property. Having an idea of the age of property can help. Most brokers have software which can actually find out what the age of the property is, the square footage, if the basement is finished. But don't forget, there's always a room for error. So it's always good to have an understanding of how old the property is. Something that the broker won't know is dates of any updates. If the house has had a new roof, if there's been new plumbing put into the house, if there's new electrical put into the house, these dates are very important. They do have an impact on your premium. Importantly, you know, having a roof that's been changed, let's, for example, take 2019, would mean that you're a lower premium if the house was built in 1999. A lot of insurance companies are now saying that 20 years is the maximum they will give on a furnace. So if your furnace has been replaced within 20 years, you become more of an insurable asset. Otherwise, what happens is the insurance companies do not want to insure somebody whose furnace is over 20 to 25 years old. Okay. Another thing to know about the property you're purchasing is any extra features, an alarm system, a sewer backup alarm system. Is there some sort of there's new technology that allows you to actually monitor if there's going to be a flood in your basement? Is there an alarm system for that? All these things can actually help in understanding the risk, and of course it gives a better picture of your premium. Average premium of insurance in Ottawa, well, let's say Ontario, as we all know, we're sitting in a market where the prices are rising. So of course, with that impact, the insurance premiums will rise also. Be it that the rebuild costs are increasing, be it that the property itself is having a lot more upgrades, a lot more extras in the properties. These are averages. This is not set in stone, but just as an example, majority of the houses in Ottawa, region about $600 to $1 million now, the premiums are looking at around about $1,700, including the tax. So you've got to really put that into your equation when you're purchasing a house. You need to understand that is that's a cost that you will require to have on your bills, because at the end of the day, insurance is very important. If you're buying a house that's worth $600 to $1 million, you do need that insurance. You do need that coverage to make sure that your home is covered. Okay. Let me just. So reviewing and understanding a quote. You have like 3 portions of your quote. A lot of people will get a quote and all they look at is the number on this, the premium. Is the premium good? You know, how much is my monthly? They don't understand what the coverage is and what the extended coverages are. Before looking at the premium, understand what the coverages are. There's a lot of coverages that come with an insurance package, but there's a lot of coverages that don't come with the insurance package. You actually have to ask for those to have them in your policy. This is just an example. It's just a brief overview of what it would look like. You'd have your residence, which would be this number is usually a rating number. It rates how much the building would be, the rebuild cost would be. So this is, I believe, I took this quote on a 2,300 square foot home. The rebuild would be around about $516,000. And the outbuildings, when it says included, contents included, it's an unlimited policy limit. So that means that it actually allows you to actually claim, if you need to, the unlimited portion. As long in relative terms, you would so if your rebuild is 516, you're assuming your content would be around about $350,000 to $400,000. So that's what the insurance company is assuming. But obviously, if you have receipts to proof of what products you had in your house, it's a great idea to keep those on file. Additional living expenses are when your house is a total loss, you can't live in the house. Of course, you'll still have your mortgage payments coming out. That will never be deferred, even if you have a total loss on your house. So you have some sort of backup plan. You have to have somewhere to live after the fact. So you end up calling upon your insurance company to give you that additional living expense. They'll either put you in a home which is similar to the one that you're living in, pay the rent for you. Sometimes, if it happens, you get a fire damage, you get placed into a home like into a hotel straight away, and then they cover that cost for that time period before they find you somewhere to live, or if you find somewhere to live, they'll cover that expenditure. Voluntary medical and voluntary property comes with majority of insurance carriers. They give you that included in the policy. There's no extra charges for that. It's kind of like it's a package that they give you. Voluntary medical is if somebody fell in your home as a guest and they could claim that up to a limit of $5,000. Same with voluntary property. Somebody comes to your house, he drops his cell phone. I know cell phones are worth more than $1,000 now, so it's kind of just a coverage for that particular purpose. Again, that's a standard part of the insurance. Okay, that's what you would call when your lawyer says, have you got fire insurance? That's what that covers. Okay, so the other portion of your coverage is the extended coverages. The extended coverages are things like your personal liability insurance. That is one of the most important parts of a policy that I believe today, is because you have so many people visiting your home now. You have Amazon deliveries, you have Canada Post deliveries. Somebody slips on your driveway, that coverage is something that will help you if they sue you. It's usually the normal now is $2 million. $2 million legal liability, they call it. So if ever something happens, you invite a guest to your house, he slips on your stairs, and it's deemed that it was your fault. You spilled something and they slip, they can sue you. Okay, and that's when you call upon your personal insurance, which is legal liability. Again, extended coverages, sewer backup, flood, overland water is flood. These kind of policy, this kind of thing in Ottawa is a requirement, I would say. Sewer backup is something when your drainage going into the city pipes blocks up and it comes back into your house. It's sewer backup, and it's usually something that costs a lot of money to get repaired. So that's why we go with the full maximum limit on that. As you can see, it's $516,000, same as the rebuild cost, same as the flood. Again, we all know, if we look back at the statistics that we have in Ottawa is a really high flood zone. We're going to be catering for snow soon, and after the thaw in March and April, you do end up having water seeping into basements, and sometimes it's livable. We can actually get it repaired without claiming, but majority of the time when it comes to flood, it's something that needs to be looked upon, because if you don't take care of it, you have the issues of mold, you have the issues of all these structural issues when it comes to water getting inside the building. The biggest thing that a lot of people forget is the discounted part of the premium. How can we have discounts on a premium? You should always talk to your broker about if you've had an alarm system fitted. We do have issues where people say, we have an alarm system, but it's not monitored. You will only be given a discount if it's monitored by a third party. Alarm system has to be monitored by a third party. A fire alarm system has to be monitored by a third party, and you will get a discount. If you're in a lucky position and you become mortgage free, you also end up getting a discount being mortgage free. So those are the principles of a quote. That's what you will find in a quote. There's one other thing that you will find on a quote, which is claims forgiveness. We don't, a lot of brokers will try to take off the claims forgiveness. I generally like to put the claims forgiveness in because it allows you one opportunity to make a claim and not have it rated on the policy, on your premium for the next renewal. This claim forgiveness only works with the carrier that you're with. So if you did decide, my premium's gone up a little bit and I'm moving to another carrier, you would have to tell them about the claim, and your premium will be impacted by the claim. claims last on a home insurance for around about 5 years. So that's the understanding of reviewing and understanding a quote. Again, this is very brief. So this policy is kind of like a brief policy. You can add other products to this policy. Okay. So comparing coverages. One thing I always suggest is a good insurance policy is not always the cheapest. Don't always go for the cheapest policy, because that will always reflect a cheaper coverage package as well. And you know, if you're purchasing a house, like with the prices that are rising in Ottawa, majority of single homes, townhomes, they're in the region of $450,000 to close to $900,000. So in that region, if you're going to not spend the money to cover that investment, and think about it this way, you know, it's an easy said is that if I was to say to you today, if you give me $1,500, I will give you $500,000 in cash. You know, everybody would do that. So that's why, in the same terms as insurance, you're giving the insurance company $1,500 to protect your biggest asset that you purchase. Okay. The other thing to look at, does your coverage cover what is required by the lender? You know, we're buying our first home. We're taking a mortgage. Have we looked at what the mortgage company requires you to have as an insurance? We kind of get bogged down with the fact that we're purchasing a home, we've got our mortgage, we've gone to the lawyer, and lastminute.com, we're told, hey, you need insurance to cover what the lender requires. So what does a lender require? He requires you to have whatever portion of a loan that you're taking covered. So be it that you've taken $400,000, $500,000, the lender wants to make sure that your policy in force covers their $500,000. So in essence, they want to make sure that they're protected. Again, check your level of coverages. You can buy a premium, you can buy extended coverages, and you can get something like a $10,000 package. We all know if your house suffers from a flood, would you be protected by just having $10,000 coverage? I'm not entirely certain, because it costs usually just to get the removal of drywall, the basement walls dried. Your $10,000 will disintegrate very quickly. Okay. Like I said, evaluate your premium against the cost of your home. If your home is $700,000 and your premium's $1,500, I think it's not a bad idea to, you know, it's not a bad premium, because that's what you're protecting it with, that cap. Make sure you ask your broker questions. What if I was to claim? What if this would happen? How easy is it to make a claim? We take insurance out, and we don't really understand what we need to do if in case of a claim. Today I'm your broker. Imagine tomorrow, you know, I win the 649 lottery and I'm no longer your broker. You need to know how to claim. You need to know what avenues you should take to claim. You know, you need to be in contact with your broker to understand, is it worth me making a claim? If I had a flood and, you know, it was only my rug that got damaged and the rug was $5,000, my deductible's $1,000, should I claim? It's you know, it's up to the individual, of course, but it's always good to get an understanding of how this claim is going to impact your previous insurance. So, you know, like your next insurance, how will it impact it? Will my premium go up? How much will my premium go up? So these are the discussions you can have with your broker. Terms of and conditions of home insurance. If we're buying a primary home, so a primary home is generally the place that you will live, and you will be the ownership of that house. There will be no rental property, so you will not be renting the property. So you will be the guy living in that home. You can, you know, legalize a basement. You can pay all, you know, the money to make sure that you have a legalized basement. But a lot of insurance companies now capping that there should be only 2 families living in a home. 3 is the maximum, but I'm being conservative and saying 2 should be the maximum, okay? Especially if it's going to be your primary home. So you have to let your broker know the number of units. If you're going to rent your basement, that would mean that you have 2 units in the home. So 1 unit is downstairs and 1 unit is upstairs. How many families? That's 2 families. Your own family upstairs and the other family downstairs. Okay, so that's something that you have to understand. With the way the pricing market's going, a lot of people are leaning over to do that because it kind of it increases the cash flow because you need that money to actually work on that mortgage. Okay, so that's understandable, but at the same time, it's a good idea to let the broker know. Be as transparent as possible. Okay, and that makes a big difference. Majority of policies, majority of brokers generally add guaranteed building replacement cost. This is something that ensures that your mortgage company, your lender, would be happy with, so that in case of a total loss, and say, for example, your rebuild cost is coming back through the software that it's $500,000, but your loan is $650,000. The insurance company would be happy that you've taken the guaranteed building replacement cost, because that would mean that regardless to what the limit is, the carrier will replace the building to the guaranteed replacement cost. So if it costs $700,000, the insurance carrier will replace your building and make it to the spec it was before. Something a lot of people tend to do to reduce premium is, that we use the word misrepresentation, is not be as transparent as possible. You buy a primary home, but really it's going to be a rental home. The reason being, the mortgage company is only borrowing you the money because it is a primary home. You're telling them it's a primary home. This is classed as misrepresentation. When it comes to misrepresentation, it stays on your record. It's something that's not worth going down the path, because as an insurance carrier, once they find out, say, for example, you've had a policy for 8 months with, let's just say the carrier is Aviva. You've had the policy for 8 months. They will just cancel your policy, refund you the 8 months worth of premium that you've paid. And that will mean that you've had no insurance. And that will mean that the mortgage company will say, hey, what's going on? You've had no insurance. You've lied to us. The insurance company will say, this gentleman misrepresented. He had tenants in there. So something I always say is, please be honest with your broker and let them advise you the right way, because if you're honest with them, they can advise you correctly. Okay. Again, claims, if you've made any claims in the past 5 years, and if it's a tenant insurance, you should always know. You should always let the broker know. It has to be, like, I'm not saying if you have auto policy and you made a claim, that's not something that it ties in with your home insurance. If it's anything to do with habitational insurance and you've made a claim in the last 5 years, you should always instruct and let your broker know, because that's something that if they do an audit of your policy, they can find out, the insurance carrier can find out if you've had a claim in the past 5 years. So these are some of the terms and conditions of home insurance. How to optimize your home insurance premium. Again, like I spoke to you about the discounts, add an alarm system. That's the first thing majority of people should be doing now, is adding an alarm system which has the monitoring system. It's useful because in this day and age, most people, you leave your house empty. It's something that you should be doing. So, and you do usually get around about a 25%, up to 25% discount on your home insurance with added alarm. As a new homeowner, or if you're an existing homeowner, keep home update records. So when you change a roof, just make sure you keep a record of that, and make sure you tell your insurance company, hey, we just had our roof changed. Hey, we just had our furnace changed. It's very important to keep up to date with that. Imagine you're paying a premium for an older roof, so your premium will be impacted. You'll have a reduced premium if you have newer product in your house. Nowadays, the furnaces come with so many safety aspects that it helps reduce your insurance. Okay. Again, bundle your home and auto insurance. Another thing is it adds discount, and it also means that your loyalty with the insurance carrier. So having your home and auto in one place can help reduce your premium for both your home and auto. Okay. Again, if you're buying a home with a secondary person, be it your wife, be it your brother, mother, father, make sure that the broker is doing a credit rating on all the people on the title. So it could be you that's got the better credit, so that can help you reduce your premium. So ensure that the broker generally does a score rating on everyone on the title. Again, adding smoke detectors, making sure you tell your broker that you have smoke detectors. The average is about 5 smoke detectors in a house now. So, it's something that I would suggest having, and making sure that your insurance broker knows and the insurance companies know. Okay. Start building home insurance experience. If you haven't already got tenant insurance, or if you haven't already got any kind of home insurance, it's something you should think about doing. Majority of people have auto insurance, and believe it or not, if you have auto insurance and you bundle tenant insurance or home insurance, or tenant insurance, should I say, to get some experience in the insurance world, you won't be paying much more. You'll end up paying around about maybe $5 or $6 more, just by bundling your home and tenant, or home and whatever together, just to get your experience. The more experience you have, the better it looks for your premium for your home insurance. So again, this was just an overview of the world of home insurance. This is just like kind of an introduction, touching on the surface of the product. Please remember that all insurances are case by case. It's in the individual. So, we quote people on their individual requirements and their records, and that's how we find out about what they require for insurance. Again, at the same time, everything it's what you tell the broker, and what information you give the broker is how we can create a quote for your risk. Okay, so thank you for listening to me, and if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.